All right, now we're going to take a look at the estimate guide portion of the ProDemand. So when I come down here to estimate guide, it loads me up under here, parts and labor, and you can just simply scroll through here and choose the section you want and then choose deeper in from there. Just as you saw earlier, you can enter a search term here, and you can also try searching a part number here. For this demo, we're just going to go through and select from the categories here. Now if I come down here to say electrical, you see I have charging system. It automatically went to the charging system. If I want to see parts, I can hit this and it shows me alternator assembly. I can select it, and in this example we're seeing alternator 1.8. Over here it's showing me a part number, so you could have typed that in up here earlier. You can choose quantity and price, because if I hit add, it's going to add it to a quote that's inside of the ProDemand. Now if you are using the manager and ProDemand, you do not want to use these buttons to build a quote, because you cannot transfer this over to the manager SE. What it means is if you build an entire estimate in here or a quote and then a customer approves it, you're going to have to do it all over again in the manager SE. So if you're handwriting invoices or you're using some other system, then you can build your estimates in here. But if you are not, then your best bet is to start all estimates and quotes in the Manager SE. And if you're not using the Manager SE, you should give it a look, call your rep, because it will integrate and save you a ton of time on building quotes. Now when I come here to parts or labor, I can see the 1.8 engine and how much time that's going to take. So I hit add here as well. Now up here it's starting to build the labor, the parts, and the subtotal to give you an idea on the quote. So we're going to go into that in a minute, but before we do, let's go back here. All right, let's take a look at one more thing before we view this quote. Now in this one, under engine performance fuel delivery, I opened up parts, and you may start to see it says item number here. So when I select it, this item number is the item number that will be in the diagram, and you can see there's a 5 also indicating that. Now sometimes you'll see parts that are blue, like this one is, with a hyperlink. If you see that, you can click on it and it will open up this diagram here. So that's telling you obviously item 5, where item 5 is on the diagram. You can even select it. It'll give you the exploded view, which you could then print if needed, saving you from having to go look it up. Now that I've looked up this engine control module, I can see a somewhat of a list price. And then down here I can see the labor time. Now you want to double check the list price to your area. It is a guide, of course, and so you'll get used to what those numbers are. If I was to choose add and add, then I could start continuing to build up my quote, and you can see up here it's building more. So anything you want to look up, you can just come in here, select it, choose parts, choose labor, and go through. Now let's take a look at what the quote looks like. So the quote was built based on the parts and labor we just selected. If I didn't want to use those parts, I could choose add item down here and add labor, parts, sublet, or a note. I could also choose to add any kind of a discount, a labor or a part discount, which would be added to the order. Up here we can put in the information of the customer, right there. And then down here I can see my labor parts if I had shop supplies added. If you're brand new on this, then one thing you need to do is come up here where you'll see your shop name, go to shop settings. You'll need to select labor rates here. You'll want to put your taxes, anything else you have. This part prices adjustment, if I was to enter in a part myself and I type a total into the amount back here, then whatever I type in will get marked up by this adjustment. If I leave it at 0, then it will automatically just be the price that I put in there. You could use that, let's say you call your supplier, they tell you a part's $50 and you want that part to be marked up by a certain amount. You just put that percentage in there, and then when you type in that amount, it'll automatically bump it up. If you leave it at 0, then the amount you type in is what will show up. You can do shop supplies, hazmat, miles. You can also do your header and footer, so that way you can put in your business information. And then you got display and printout, so disclosure if you want. And then what do you want to show? Part number, rate, system, notes, customer signature, and display on other printouts, header, footer. So once you set that up, then when you come up here to print it, let's type in the customer information for now. So we'll type in this example, Mitchell1 rep. Now we're going to go to print. Now you'll see it opens up like this, having the business information as well as the customer info here, all that, allowing you to print it out, get a signature for an estimate if you wanted, and you hit print here. Again, if you are using the Manager SE, do not use this part of it. It's better to start it off from the Manager SE. Now, after you've done a few quotes and you want to save it, if you want to look for them, if you're already here, you can hit Save Quotes, and you can see some of the past quotes here. Again, since this system is not going to keep them for a long time, it's a better idea for you to use the Manager SE, so that way you can have all the history. I believe this one's going to hold like 200, and then after that they start falling off, and that's not going to get you very far. Now you notice that it went to Quote tab instead of Estimate Guide. So if I was here and I wanted to get back to that Quote tab, instead of going to Estimate Guide, I would just go straight to Quotes. And now I'm on the last quote. If I hit Saved Quotes, now I'm back to those quotes I already made, and I can click on those and then go right back into it and print it out for the customer. So that is a walkthrough of your estimate guide.